If you've tuned in this long, you know we're on episode 5 of the AirDrop starter pack, building on top of the Decent SDK to be able to bring airdrops to your own drops. In this video, we're going to be implementing custom contract. Up and until this point, we've been airdropping on a hard-coded contract. And so in this video, we're going to show you how to make it so that you can put in any contract address you want, so you can run airdrops on like 5 contracts in parallel. So let's say you are a musician and you want to airdrop the same NFT or a bunch of different NFTs to the same collector list. You can plug in one collection, airdrop to that list, plug in a different collection, airdrop to that list, plug in a different collection, airdrop to that list. And so you can take one list of holders that you find very valuable and you can airdrop them a lot of different collections. The steps, we're going to 1, set up a text field. 2, we're going to have an onChange function to be able to handle when an address is entered. 3rd, we're going to use the Decent SDK to try to read that contract and see if it's a real contract. Step 4, we're going to display the contract name on the page so that people can verify that they're airdropping the correct contract. 5, the airdrop, we're going to have, when you click that airdrop button, it's going to call it on whatever contract you plug in. And after that, we'll talk about next steps, but this is kind of the last video. And so let's get into it. First, we're going to add a text field. So let's head back over to our index, and beneath the connect button, beneath the title, right here is where I want to add a nice little input. It's just going to be a simple input, but I'm still going to copy inputs. So we'll copy one of these. We're going to put it here. And we're going to remove all this register stuff. So we should now have, and I want placeholder equals contract add. Label's not a thing. Okay. We'll do the same thing. We'll copy this guy. Let's see if that worked. Okay, we added in our text field for our collection address. We can see it there. What I would like to do is have this stored in state. Well, we do need our onChange function. So let's take this one step at a time. Next, we need an onChange function to handle when the contract address changes. Const handle contract change equals an arrow function. And for now, we're just going to console.log e.target.value, where e is going to come from the event here. Handle contract change is going to then go inside of the input for our onChange. onChange equals handle contract change, and we should just be logging it. And what I want to do is I want to verify if it's a correct address. 5, okay, and we got to do the same thing we did down here by changing the text color. Text black for our input. Boom, text black. We got to refresh now. Okay, cool. 0x And so in our onChange, I want to verify if it is a contract address or not. So inside of here, let's say where are we doing that? I think inside of our AirDrop button, we're checking if it's a valid address. Yeah, here it is. This is probably the exact check that we want to do. Boom. Verify if that's an address. If it's not, then we're going to return. Otherwise, I want to const contract address, comma set contract address equals use state. And it's going to be a string, so we'll just have it initially be an empty string. So if it is not an address, we're going to exit. Otherwise, we want to set contract address to e.target.value. All right, so now we've got our onChange function, we've got our text field, we've got our onChange function. Now we want to try building that contract. Quickly, I think I want to add in a little bit of logic here just to do the, update the UI to make it a little bit cleaner. So I think if we don't have a collection address, I'm going to hide the entire minting section. So we'll break it up like that. And so all of this should get hidden. Yeah, it's all that. All this should only appear if we have contract address and then I need to wrap all this inside of its own div. So let's try that. And this might break some of our current grid. Let's see how that looks. Cool. So we don't have an address. Let's get an address by heading over to hq.decent.xyz. Should already have my wallet connected, so I'm going to try to find one on Optimism Guerli, a testnet. Here's my normal AirDrop contract, but let's just do the lore of, let's do the second one. Let's copy that, paste, and then boom, we get it. And if we delete characters, nothing happens, but I want to disable the text field as well once we get a valid address. And so inside of the input, we should say disabled equals contract address. Boolean contract address. Okay. Let's copy this address. Let's refresh the page. Let's try it again. And then boom, we can't change it now. Love that. Okay. So now let's try to build this in our, let's try to build it. I guess we'll build it inside of, where's the best place to build it? Well, we do need to build it because we need to get the contract name, but we only need to get that once. So let's do the same thing we did before where we say, I think it's all inside of AirDrop button right now, where we're, yeah, right here. This is what I'm looking for. So we want to first create the SDK with DecentSDK, and then we need our chain ID and our signer, and we'll get both of those in the same way using WAGMI hooks. Pull these into our index. Those weren't the right copies. We need chain and signer, not recipient address. All right, let's import them. these are potentially undefined, right? Yeah, we're just or not chain or not signer. Boom. This now needs to be async because we're making an await call to get our addition contract. And now we want to import addition from the Decent SDK. And instead of using this hard-coded address, we're going to use e.target.value. Boom. And so we should now get a contract, which we should be able to say const name equals await contract dot name, and then we should be able to console dot log contract name, and we should be able to see the name of the contract. Let's see if that's the case. Copy the address, refresh the page. Let's see if we got a name. We didn't get any errors, so it looks like we did get a name. So let's try to set that as a state variable. Const contract name, comma set contract name equals use state empty string. If we get a contract name, then we want to set contract name to name. Once we have that name, we want to show it on the screen. And so in here, name is going to be contract name. Let's try that. Let's see what happens. I don't want to overthink this. We're already 12 minutes in, and we're just kind of doing some styling stuff, but we're pretty close, to be honest. Pretty close. And now we've got name shows external URL. Is that really the name of my drop? I guess the drop is external URL. If I do this one, video should be animation, we should get that name. So let's try that. We'll copy this. You know what? I don't even think we need that AirDrop mint. I don't think we need this. Video should be animation URI. Boom. Awesome. So we're displaying the contract name. Next, we want to actually be calling the AirDrop function on this contract instead of the one that we were using. And so we'll pass that into the AirDrop button. Contract address equals contract address. And so we'll drill down into there. We'll add contract address. This is never being used anymore, so we can remove the usage of use account. And then contract address we want to use down here to get our contract that we're ultimately going to mint the AirDrop on. All right, let's see if this works. So if this works, I should now be able to take this new contract address of video should be animation URL, and I should be able to AirDrop a new list. Well, I should be able to AirDrop on that contract, that digital collectible, instead of the other one. And so let's try this by pasting. Let's upload that Mija list of the 100 collectors. Let's do that AirDrop. it looks like, I'm sure this one did not have enough of a supply. So one of the next steps is toast errors. All of the errors right now are showing up down here in the logs and we're not presenting them. So one thing we could do is we can display those errors. Let me try to find one that probably has a bigger max supply. Let's try start, maybe testing. Let's try this testing one. We gotta refresh the page. And probably put an X button in to clear the contract address, clear contract. Because that was one of our use cases, is we did want to be able to cycle between contracts. Okay. This one looks like it's working. Cool, so we should be able to airdrop now on a different contract. Should be going to a contract ending with 4851. We're interacting with contract 4851. We just airdropped on a brand new token. Instead of it being our airdrop token, we just airdropped our testing token. And so we just updated it so you can now airdrop to any contract you want. As long as that contract has enough supply, you can airdrop, just plug in the address, it can be on any chain, and you can do an airdrop now. So feel free to use this tool. Feel free, we've got it published live. If you want to build your own, build your own. If you've got any questions, reach out to myself or the Decent team. All of this has been open source. Thank you for tuning in. This is Sweetman.e, signing off.